Chairman. And just like the last amendment, this amendment recognizes the fact that our country is out of money. We're borrowing money to pay our bills, and we're paying for things that we can't afford, paying for things that these folks can't afford. Mr. Chairman, this amendment reduces the authorization levels in Section 101, which is airport planning, Section 103, which is operations, and Section 1111, which is research and development. The authorization levels in the underlying bill represent a significant increase from the levels set by Congress in the 2018 reauthorization bill. For example, the underlying bill raises the authorizations by significant amounts from FY23 to FY24. 101 by $650 million, 103 by $1.2 billion, and 1111 by $41 million. This amendment reduces the growth of these authorization levels while still increasing the funds authorized for FAA, resulting in a net savings of nearly $5 billion. So we're going to raise the level of understanding and recognize inflation caused by out-of-control spending in this place. We're going to recognize that and understand that the FAA still has to continue to operate, but we're not going to raise it so much. Our national debt is out of control, and it is in this mindless, rapid growth of spending in Washington that has put our nation on the brink of catastrophe. Moreover, this massive increase in funding is not resulting in a safer or more efficient FAA mission. That's their mission: safety, more efficiency. It instead represents a significant misallocation of resources to woke and green missions at the expense of safety and financial sanity. We must reorient the FAA back to its original mission, ensure the funding we provide to them is appropriate to meet the moment while not wasting taxpayer resources. With that, I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia seek recognition?
I rise to claim the time in opposition to the amendment.
Gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition to this amendment, which would slash funding authorization levels for the Airport Improvement Program, the AIP, FAA operations and maintenance, and research and development efforts. The Transportation and Infrastructure Committee overwhelmingly agreed that AIP funding must be increased to $4 billion annually in order to fund critical programs.
Happy Tuesday, friends. I have a major update to inform you about this evening. Economists are now pointing to a soft landing for the United States. But there are still 3 financial risks for all Americans. Lawmakers in Congress are trying to pass legislation that would lessen the financial impact on low-income households. My dear friends, please do me a favor and watch until the end of this video for the complete details. Also, every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these giveaway friends, simply click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dearest friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Experts once forecasted that the United States economy would undergo a recession earlier this year. But now many experts are backing off those predictions. 69% of economists surveyed by the National Association for Business Economics said that they see a soft landing on the horizon. That is a significant shift from March's survey, when a similar share of respondents leaned towards a recession. A soft landing is considered a slowdown in economic growth that avoids a recession. A recession consists of at least 2 consecutive quarters of decline in gross domestic product. But still, some experts are holding tight to their recession predictions. CNBC News found that 20% of those surveyed believe the United States economy is either already in a recession or will enter one in 2023. In recent weeks, some Wall Street firms have revised their previous recession calls. Bank of America now says a soft landing is most likely the scenario. JP Morgan has said a soft landing is possible, though elevated recession risks remain. Meanwhile, average Americans are not as optimistic, with 71% describing the United States economy as either not so good or very poor. In comparison, just 28% of respondents said the U.S. economy is either excellent. According to CNBC News, there are 3 key areas of the economy that experts are watching that will affect Americans' money. The U.S. would have already fallen into recession if not for the strong job market. However, the latest jobs report showed less job growth than expected for July. The unemployment rate is 3.5%, just above the lowest level since 1969. But it's likely to take more than 12 months for inflation to subside. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, which is the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation measure, rose 4.1% from 1 year ago as of June. Meanwhile, the Consumer Price Index was up 3.2% over the past 12 months as of July. Financial institutions are often stricter about lending money out, either to cut costs or to avoid the ultimate risk of an individual or business being unable to pay them back. For example, Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citibank stopped accepting applications for new home equity lines of credit during the crisis, tightening their belt the same way a consumer would during a downturn. Meanwhile, credit card companies reduced credit card limits for some cardholders, and those decisions can make it harder for businesses and consumers to find extra funding. Also, House conservatives in a group known as the Freedom Caucus have unveiled a list of demands that they want included in a stopgap spending measure. This is to keep the federal government running after the end of September. Historically, members of the Freedom Caucus rarely support short-term spending bills to keep the government open. But with Republicans holding just a 5-seat majority in the House, they have a significant leverage over the agenda. Speaker McCarthy will likely need votes from Democrats to pass a short-term funding measure that can also get through the Senate and be signed into law. The demands from the House Freedom Caucus include spending levels below the top-line numbers that Speaker McCarthy had agreed to with President Biden as part of a bill to increase the nation's debt ceiling. Lawmakers will return to Washington, D.C. after Labor Day and will not have time to get all 12 government funding bills approved before the new fiscal year begins on October 1st. Last week, Speaker McCarthy floated the prospect of a short-term bridge that would provide the House and Senate more time to reach a compromise on final spending levels for the year. If Congress fails to pass the spending bills into law by January 1st, 2024, it raises the possibility of an across-the-board 1% reduction in spending for the year, and that would start at the end of April. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters last week that Senate Democrats are on board with getting a short-term spending bill passed. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friend, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Tuesday. My dear friends, every Friday, I will be announcing winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. Please make sure, friends, that you enter the giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dearest friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed week.